Xanadu Mine's other project, Red Mountain, has delivered high-grade copper and silver assets. As per Xanadu's announcement, high-grade copper up to 28.9% and high-grade silver up to 114 grams per ton. What is Xanadu's exploration plans for Red Mountain project? And will you develop this project 100% or will you seek a joint venture partner like Hamagtai?
Yeah, well, Red Mountain's an interesting one. It's a large mining lease similar to Hamagtai, further to the east. It's also located right next to the new east-west railway line, so well supported by infrastructure. It's an earlier stage project, so it's an exploration discovery project. We have evidence there of porphyry and porphyry-related mineralisation, and our primary target there at the moment is skarns and epithermals, so smaller scale, higher grade deposit styles that could be mined either by open pit or selective underground, and will be a lower capital development scenario. I can't really comment on how we would develop something we haven't found yet, so I think the answer to the second part of the question is it depends. If it's a small capital digestible project, then maybe we could think about doing it on our own. However, our core skill is exploration, so I suggest if I was a betting man, I'd be betting on us doing a joint venture with a capable and trusted partner to develop that project, should we discover a mineable deposit there.
Thank you. You mentioned ESG several times in this interview, and we know ESG is a very popular and very necessary topic these days in the mining sector. Can you talk about key differentiating factors about Xanadu ESG perspective?
Sure. You know, I believe there's only one way to do mining, and that's the right way, and which is with the highest regard to environment, social and community issues. And that's always been the case. It's become a bit trendy and popular these days, but to me that means balancing your employees' needs and wants with the community and government, with your shareholders and financiers. So everybody needs a balanced return from a project, and if you get that right, the project will succeed. If you get one of those things wrong, the project will probably fall over. So it's a balancing exercise. The advantages Hamagtai in particular has is that it's in a mining region. It's in Soxeti Sum, which has the giant Oyu Tolgoi copper gold mine owned by Rio, and it also has the Tavan Tolgoi, the giant copper coal deposits. It's well supported by infrastructure, and there is a strong mining culture in that part of the country, and the people are well educated and well trained and seeking to those jobs and economic benefit that come from mines. It's a delicate ecosystem and needs to be respected, but it's not one that can't be managed relatively easily. As I said, we're not in the mountains and we're not in a high seismic, high rainfall terrain. We're in flat ground, which makes the risks just lower. So, as I said, we can manage our waste and tailings much better. We have one thing that differentiates Xanadu from other exploration companies is we do have a sustainability report. We've just published our second. Most exploration companies don't have these. Most operating companies do. So we've started early and put a sustainability report out, and I would point your listeners and readers to that report, because it is actually quite a good document with good case studies on what we are doing to support the local community and what we're doing to manage safety and environment in our project. But I think we are well placed to build a contemporary, low carbon footprint, sustainable operation in the South Gobi, and I think it's projects like Hamagtai that will be constructed to supply the copper needs of the globe going forward.
And what is Xanadu's main focus in financial year 2023?
2023, we'll be looking to complete our deal with Zijin and get started on the PFS study. We believe our pre-feasibility study will take 18 months and costs at least $20 million. So that's easier said than done. It's where all the big decisions are made at the end of that process. We would hope to have a single go forward case in terms of the physical and financial parameters of the project, and we'll be working hard towards obtaining the legal and social licence to operate from the government of Mongolia and our neighbouring communities. So we get to that point, then it's time to make a financial investment decision, and with our partners at Xanadu, we will either go ahead and build a mine, which theoretically can be producing commercial copper by the end of 2027. At Red Mountain, we'll be looking to kick off our exploration and looking to make a discovery there and add to our portfolio. So it's going to be an exciting and busy year in financial year 23.
Regarding the PFS you just mentioned, when do you expect to release complete PFS, and what are key upside opportunities related to scoping study?
Yeah, so as I said, 12 to 18 months. So I would hope towards the end of calendar year 23 that we would have that PFS completed. The key upsides I'm looking for, exploration. We'll continue to explore both along strike and at depth to see if we can find not more of the same. I'm really looking for that sort of high grade underground opportunity, and I think that you should never die wondering. You should always test your exploration models. So we will do that. In terms of the upside to the scoping study, as I said, there's the oxide material, which is currently considered waste. We'll be looking to turn that into ore through a different process route, in this case, glycine leaching. If we can get adequate recoveries of copper and gold from glycine leaching, then that waste becomes ore, and that adds serious value because it removes costs and adds revenue, particularly in the early years of the project. The other two will be technologically driven, in-pit crush and convey, or versions of it. At the moment, we are using, trucks to haul all the way from the bottom of a very deep pit to the surface. There are technologies that are commonplace today, particularly in iron ore and coal, where you only truck to a crusher that's in the pit, and then you use a conveyor to lift your rock out of the bottom of the pit. That does two things: it reduces cost, and it reduces your carbon footprint in that you're using electric conveyors rather than diesel trucks to move your rock. The other one is coarse particle flotation. So we're assuming a traditional 150 to 180 micron grind, so a lot of kilowatt hours per ton of ore treated. There's commonplace technology out there now that you can take that out to 300 micron or beyond. So you're floating and getting decent recoveries from a much coarser grind, which saves power again. There are also all sorts of technologies coming out now around ore sorting, which allows you to use various methods of online analysis to take low-grade material out of your feed and beneficiate the feed grade into the plant. So there's lots of things you can do. I was heavily involved in the technology aspects that Newcrest are applying today in the real world, and we'll certainly look at those. We deliberately didn't include that technical risk in the scoping study because we wanted to be sure that before those opportunities are baked into the project, this is a solid project. We believe we have a solid project and we can make it better with those initiatives, and we'll be pursuing those during 23 and 24.
We look forward to the release of PFS. Last question from me. What's your vision for Xanadu in 5 years?
Oh, very good question. Listen, I think in 5 years' time, we'll have a producing mine at Hamagtai that we should be in commercial production by then, and depending on how the financing works, we will either have a percentage of that operation in partnership with Zijin or some other financial arrangement. I'm hoping that we will have a discovery at Red Mountain that we're putting through the development process. And we're currently actively pursuing a third project in the South Gobi. We did have a project called Yellow Mountain up in the north, The north of the country is more for recreation and hunting and fishing, and the south of the country is for mining. So the government have asked us to look at swapping that out for a project in the south. So we'll look to get a third project into the portfolio. So I would like to think with our partners at Gin, we are building and operating mines, and we are using that to fund more discoveries in Mongolia.
This is the end of the interview. We look forward to catching up with you again in the future. Thank you so much for your time, Colin.
Thanks for your time, Hannah, and all the best.
Thank you.